Yeah. Oh man. Well, maybe the animation will come next week.
Repeat.
All right.
Did you hear anything more from that one gal that stopped by?
I haven't seen her. I think at some point she'll come again, but we'll see. When? Hare Krishna, Dhanavad Pranams. Welcome to our Sunday program, live from Jai Gurudev, Bhakti Chakora Jai Gurudev Ashram. Hare Krishna, Dhanavad Pranams. Speaking over to Instagram. Thank you for joining us for our Sunday program at Bhakti Chakora Jai Gurudev Ashram. We're going to do some morning bhajans and then also do a bit of Gaura Lila Katha. So it should be a nice program. Please stay with us and sing with us. Get out your Shri Gaudiya Giti Guja and you can join along with the songs. It'll be a great time. Beautiful hum going. Nice. Okay, so let's go ahead and start with
Our fearless leader.
Haribol. Vrindavan Vasi Jato, page 36. Vrindavana Vasi Jato, Vaishnavera Gana. Okay. Sorry, 1 second. Forgot Mangalacharan. Page 1 in your Shri Gaudiya Giti Guja. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Utapara Kamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Harijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Visakam Vikamscha Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurumilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namo Vishnu Padaya Gaura Prasthaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Vanaiti Namine Namo Vishnu Padaya Radhikaye Priyamane Shishima Bhakti Vedanta Narayani Namine Shri Krishna Lila Katane Sudaksham Adarya Madhurya Guneshta Yuktam Airam Varenyam Purusham Mahantam Narayanam Tvam Shirasa Namami Namo Vishnu Padaya Keshava Prasthaya Bhutale Shishima Bhakti Vedanta Vamanaiti Namine Namo Vishnu Padaya
Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamini Namine Namaste Gaura Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashatya Deshatarine Namam Vishnu Padaya Acharya Simarupine Shishima Bhakti Pragyan Keshavayiti Namine Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Namine Namaste Gauravani Shri Murtaye Devatarine Rupanuga Virudhapa Siddhanta Dvanta Harine Namo Gaura Kishoraya Saksha Varagya Murtaye Vipralambar Sambodhe Padam Ujayate Namaha Namo Bhakti Vinodaya Sachiranandanamine Gaura Shakti Swarupaya Rupanuga Varayate Gaura Vibhavavamestvam Nirdista Sajana Priya Vaishnava Sarvabhaumashi Jagannate Yate Namaha Panchakapatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gaura Tvishe Namaha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinavanno Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Jayatam Suratarpango Mama Manda Matirgati Matsarva Swapadam Puja Radha Madana Mohana Divya Vrindaranya Kapadrumadha Shimad Ratnagara Simhastanasto Shimad Radha Shila Govinda Deva Prestali Bhisevamano Smarami Shiman Rasa Rasarami Vam Shivata Tatastita Karshan Venus Vanir Gopi Gopinata Shistana Vrindaye Tulasi Devyai Priyaye Keshavashita Krishna Bhakti Pradai Devi Satyavatyai Namo Namaha Panchatattvatmakam Krishna Bhaktarupa Swarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakta Shantikam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasani Shri Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Can I make a request for Guru Bhajan?
Yeah, just so you know we're live, so just so you know.
Page 255, Guru Vastakam.
255. We're doing morning bhajans, like late morning bhajans. Krishna, sorry, page 23. Krishna hoite te chaturmukha, Haya Krishna sevanmukha, Rama hoite Narade Ramati, Narada hoite Vyasa, Madhvaka he Vyasa dasa, Purna pragyan padmana bhagati, Nirhari madhava vamse, Akshobha paramahamse. Shishya bole angikara kare, Akshobhera jisha jaya, Tirtana me parichaya, Taradase jnana sindhu tare, Tahoy tadayanidhi, Taradasa vidyanidhi, Rajendra hoyota hoyte, Tahara kinkara jaya, Dharmanami parichaya, Parampara jnana balamate. Some books are there. Jaya dharma dhyasya kyate, Shipurushottama jati, Taha hoite brahmanya tirtha suri, Vyasa tirtha tara dasa, page 23. Lakshmi pati vyasa dasa, Tahate Madhavendra Puri, Madhavendra Puri Varashisha Varashi Ishvara, Nityananda Shri Advaita Vibhu, Ishvara Puri Kedanya Korilena Shri Chaitanya, Jagadguru Gaura Mahaprabhu, Mahaprabhu Shri Chaitanya Radha Krishna Ayanya, Rupanuga Chanera Jivana, Vishwamara Priyankara Shri Swarupa Damodara, Shri Goswami Rupa Sanatana, Rupa Priya Mahajana Jiva Raghunatahana, Tara Priya Kavi Krishna Dasa, Krishna Dasa Priya Varanamutama Seva Para, Janapada Vishwanatha Aisha, Vishwanatha Bhakta Sata Baladeva Jagannatha, Tarapriya Shivakti Vinoda, Mahabhagavata Vara Shri Gaura Kishora Vara, Haribhajanete Taramoda, Shiva Shabhavani Vara Sada Seva Seva Para, Tahara Dahita Dasanama, Prabhupada Antaranga Shri Swarupa Rupanuga, Shri Keshava Bhakti Pragyana, Gauriya Vedanta Veda Maya Vada Tamoanta, Guruvani Prachara Chadama, Prachayila Gauravani Bhakti Vedanta Swami, Purailo Prabhupada Kama, Kesha Priya Mahajana Vamana Narayana, Gauravani Tadepanadana, Esa Bahari Jana Gaurangera Nija Jana, Tarera Uchiste Morakama, Parampara Guru, Parampara, Parampara Guru, Parampara. Nice to see your beautiful faces. Hare Krishna. Where's your lovely wife?
She couldn't come.
Oh, too busy. Janardhan's in the kitchen. He'll be here soon. And I think a couple people are coming later. Okay, page 36. Vrindavani Vasi Jato. Vrindavana Vasi Jato. Vaishnavera Gauna. Pratame Vandana Kori. Savara Charana. Nilachalavasi Jato Ma Prabhurgana Bhumite Padiya Bando Sabara Charana Navadvipavasi Jato Mahaprabhurbhakta Sabhara Charana Bando Hoy Anurakta Mahaprabhur Bhakta Jato Kona Deshastiti Sabhara Charana Bando Koriya Pranarti Jideshe Vaise Gaurangera Gaina Udva Bahu Kori Vando Sabara Charana Hayachena Bena Prabhu Jato Dasa Sabara Charana Bando Bante Kori Ghasa Brahmana Torite Shati Dare Jane Jane Iveda Purane Guna Gaya Je Bashune Mahaprabhur Gana Sabha Patita Pavana Taila Bemui Papi Laino Sharana Vandana Korite Mui Kato Shakti Dhori Tamo Buddhi Doshe Mui Dhamma Matra Kori Tatapi Mukhera Bhakya Manera Ulasa Dakshakshami Moadhami Karoni Jadasa Sarva Vancha Siddhiyaya Yama Bandha Chute Jagate Dulabha Hoya Prema Dhana Lute Manera Vasana Puna Achira Dhyaya Devaki Nandana Dasa Ela Bhikaya Jaya Vaishnav Thakur Jaya Vaishnav Thakur Vaishnav Thakur Jaya Vaishnav Thakur Okay. So, page 200, Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Jivedaya Kori. Would anyone like to sing this one?
200?
Page 200. Would you like to lead it?
I'm not sure.
Please?
I'm not sure of tune.
Oh, okay. I think it's the same. Yeah, morning tune. Chaitanya Prabhu Daya Kori
Shri
Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Jive Daya Kori Swaprasad Sriya Dhama Sahavatari
Swapashadasviyagama Shahavatari
Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Jive Daya Kori
Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Jive Daya Kori
Atyanta Dulabha Prema Kori Veradana
Atyanta Dulabha Prema Kari Varidana
Sikhaya Sharanagati Bhaktir Prana
Shikaya Saranagati Bhakatera Prana
Dainya Atmani Vedana Gopatritve Varana
Atmani Vedana Bhakatera Prana
Avasya Rakshive Krishna Vishwasa Padana
Avasya Rakshive Krishna Vishwasa Padana
Bhakti Anukula Matra Kariye Rasvikara
Bhakti Anukula Matra Kaira Svikara
Bhakti Pratikula Bhava Varajapakira
Bhakti Pratikula Bhava Vajanangikara
Shadanga Sharanagati Hoi Bejahara
Sadanga Sharanagati Hari Bijahara
Dahara Pratana Sudhi Srinanda Kumara
Dahara Pratana Suni Srinanda Kumara
Rupa Sanatana Pade Dante Truna Kori
Rupasanatana Pade Dante Trinakari
Bhakti Vinoda Pade Tuhu Padadhuri
Bhakti Vinoda Pade Tuhu Bhagathori
Kadiya Kadiya Bole Ami To Adhama
Kadiya Kadiya Bole Amita Dharma
Sikhaye Sharanagati Karo He Uttama
Sikaye Sharanagati Kara He Uttama
Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Jive Daya Kori
Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Jive Daya Kori
Sachinandan Jaya Gaura Hari.
Jaya Sachinandan Jaya Gaura Hari. Sachinandan Jaya Gaura Hari.
We can do
It is basically the first shloka that we see here. Shadvidha Sharanagati, what is explained in the Puranas. Anukulyasya Sankalpa Pratikulyasya Varjanam Rakshishyati Vishwaso Goptatve Vanantata Atmanikshepa Karpani Shadvidha Sharanagati. So this is the explanation of this verse basically from Bhagavatam.
Will you read that translation?
Yeah. So Anukulyasya Sankalpa. So the 6 types of surrender are acceptance of that which is favorable for bhakti, rejection of that which is unfavorable, faith in Krishna's protection, acceptance of Lord as one's only maintainer, and submission of the self and humility.
Jai.
Jai.
Great.
And the same is explained in Upadeshamrita also.
Yes. All right. So next, let's do a Nitai Bhajan. Would anyone like to sing? Hema Prabhu, would you like to sing a Nitai Bhajan?
Which one?
Anyone you like. You could do Nitai Gunamani Amar or Nitai Padakamala.
Deva di Deva.
Which one?
Deva di Deva.
What's it called? Sorry.
Deva di Deva Watson. I'm still looking, so my app froze.
85.
85?
Yeah. Wait, isn't that oh, that's Gaura. I need to know that. Okay.
Deva di Deva Gaura Chandra Gauri Dasa Mandire
Deva di
Deva Gaura Chandra Gauri Dasa Mandire
Nityananda Sangye Gaura Ambika Devi Hare
Nityananda Sangye Gaura Ambika Devi Hare Deva di Deva Gaura Chandra Gauri Dasa Mandire
Lakshmi Devya Sadare
Virinchi Seva Pada Padma Lakshmi Seva Sadare
Devati Deva Gaurata Gauri Dasa Mandire
Deva di Deva Gaura Chandra Gauri Dasa Mandire
Apahima Angatanti Pratarunam Hare
Apahima Angatanti Pratarunam Hare
Adhikanurada Prema
Radhika Nuraga Prema Bhakti Vancha Chekare
Devadi Deva Gauri Dasa Mandire
Devadi Deva Gaura Chandra Gauri Dasa Mandire
Sachituta Gaura Anandita Hare
Sachituta Gaura Chandra Anandita Hare
Nityananda Sandiranga Vihare
Vasanta Kanda Nityananda Sangerange Vihare
Devadi Deva Gaura Gauri Dasha Mandire
Devadi Deva Gaura Chandra Gauri Dasa Mandire
Nityananda Gaura Chandra Gauri Dasha Mandire
Nityananda Gaura Chandra Gauri Dasa Mandire
Gauri Dasa Karanasha Sarva Jiva
Gauri Dasa Karanasha Sarva Jiva Udhare
Devadi Deva Gaura Chandra Gauri Dasa Mandire
Devadi Deva Gaura Chandra Gauri Dasa Mandire Jaya Nitai Jaya Gaur Jaya Nitai Jaya Nitai Gaura Hari Gaur Hari Gaur Hari Gaur Nitai Gaura Hari Gaur Okay, so we'll do Krishna Deva Bhavandam Vande and then end with Shrimati Radhika. Krishna Deva, page 343. Krishna Deva Bhavantam Vande Oh Krishna Deva Bhavantam Vande Manamayana Samadakara Maya Nijapada Pankajam Karande Pankajam Karande O Krishna Deva Bhavantam Vande Vande. Yadyapi samadhusu vidirapi pashati natavanathagramarichi. Vidirapi pashati natavanathagramarichi. Idamichami nishamyatavachyuta tadapi krita bhutavichi. Krishna Deva Bhavantam Vande. Krishna Deva Bhavantam Vande. Bhaktirodam Chadiyadyapi Madhava Natvai Mamatilamatri. Parameshwarata Trapitavaithita Durgata Gatana Vidhatri. Krishna Deva Bhavantam Vande. Krishna Deva Bhavantam Vande. Ayamavilolataya Sanatana Kalita Puttara Sabhaya. Sanatana Kalita Puttara Sabhaya. Nivasatu nityami amrita nitini vandam madhuri masaira. Amrita nitini vandam madhuri masaira. Krishna Deva Bhavantam Vande. Vande. Krishna Deva Bhavantam Vande. Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Who would like to finish us off with Radhika? Sounds good. Page 341.
No, you are doing.
Me?
Yeah.
But you.
You are better singer.
Aw,
But your heart prayers are more.
sincere. Jaya Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Daite Jaya Jaya for our Sunday programs, reading about Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. As this is the special age, was it Danya Kali Yuga? The special age where Lord Chaitanya came down to manifest his pastimes. So only by taking shelter of Mahaprabhu can we even hope to attain Srimati Radhika and Shri Krishna in service to the divine couple. So let's go ahead and read from this book. There's so many beautiful pastimes. How about last week we read about Jaga and Madai, which is a classic. So that's like, I feel like one of the best pastimes. But we can read about, let's do Nimai visits an astrologer. So this is before he's taken sannyas. Because I've been hearing a lot about people visiting astrologers lately. And my Gurudev said that we actually should rely more on Guru and Krishna's mercy than astrology. But sometimes it's helpful. But let's see what Lord Chaitanya did. Okay, so this is like this is Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat. This is one long kind of story, condensed version of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. So you just kind of like pick a part to enter in, but it's an ongoing story.
So it's not a part of Chaitanya Bhagavat?
It's a summary of Chaitanya Bhagavat.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Summary.
Okay.
That they made just for like teenagers.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I said Chaitanya Charitamrita, so it's different.
Yeah,
Chaitanya
the other ones-
Charitamrita is wrote by Krishnadas Kaviraj and Chaitanya Bhagavat is the Navdas
for
Thakur.
Navnas
Got
Thakur.
it. Great.
Made to be us.
Good thing you scholars are here to correct me. Jai. Okay. One day, Nimai came to a weaver's house. The weaver received his guest with great respect. The Lord said, "Bring me a fine piece of cloth." And so the weaver went and immediately produced a very good piece. "How much will you take for this?" asked Nimai. "Whatever you want to give," replied the weaver. Nimai estimated the cost of the cloth and said, "I have no coins today." "My dear respected Brahmin," said the weaver, "you can give me the money in 10 or 15 days. Take this cloth and wear it. If you are satisfied with it, pay me later." Nimai cast his merciful glance over the weaver and left. At a milkman's house, Nimai took advantage of his position as Brahmana. "Bring me some milk and yogurt," said Gaurasundar. "Today I will accept some charity from you." To the milkman, Nimai looked like Cupid personified. Carefully and with great respect, the milkman's family and friends seated Nimai and began joking with him. With affection, they called him uncle. "Uncle, come to my house and eat some rice," said one milkman while grasping him by the arm as if he would take him by force. "No, come to my house," said another jokingly. "Don't you remember how you ate at my house previously?" Actually, Nimai had never visited any of their homes except for in his previous incarnation as Sri Krishna. In this way, the milkman could not understand the truth of his joking, nor did Nimai reveal it. The milkman brought milk, ghee, yogurt, and cream, offering it to Nimai. The Lord was pleased with the milkman. After blessing them, he left for the house of a perfume maker. The perfume manufacturer received Nimai with great respect and offered prayers at his lotus feet. Nimai said, "My dear brother, bring me some good perfume." The perfume maker immediately went inside and came back with his best creations. "What is the price?" asked Nimai. The perfume maker replied, "Just take the one you like, and use it for a few days. If it suits me, pay me whatever you like." The perfume maker smeared fragrant oil all over Nimai's body and felt indescribable pleasure from this service. Nimai blessed the perfume maker and then went to the house of a florist. The florist was astonished to see such an enchanting person. He offered obeisances to the Lord and seated him with great respect and affection. Nimai said, "I would like a very beautiful garland, but I have no money to pay for it." Noticing that Nimai appeared like a divine personality, the florist replied, "You do not have to give me anything. He then brought a beautiful garland and placed it on the Lord's neck. This pleased Nimai very much, and he began to laugh, as did the disciples and students that accompanied him. The Lord blessed the florist and then went to a betel leaf dealer's house. The merchant felt that he had Cupid as a guest. After very respectfully touching Nimai's lotus feet, he offered him a seat. "It is my great fortune to have you as a guest in my humble dwelling," he said, as he spontaneously prepared a betel leaf and offered it to the Lord. "Why did you give me a betel leaf without being paid?" asked Nimai with a sweet smile. "I simply acted at the urging of my heart," replied the betel merchant. The Lord was very satisfied with the man's simple and honest answer. The betel leaf seller then made a packet of betel leaves and spices, such as camphor, and presented it to Nimai. In return, he received the causeless mercy of the Lord, who then continued to visit the people of Navadvip in this way. Being an exact replica of Mathura, Navadvip was an opulent town even before the Lord's appearance by divine arrangement. Just as Lord Krishna had wandered around Mathura, meeting its residents, Nimai enacted a similar pastime. The Lord then visited a conch shell dealer's house. The merchant received the Lord with great respect and offered obeisances at his lotus feet. "Dear brother, please bring me a very good conch shell," requested Nimai. The dealer brought his most beautiful conch shell and delivered it to Nimai and once again offered obeisances. Nimai said, "How can I take this? I am not carrying any money." The man replied, "Respected Brahmana, you can take the conch and pay me later, or even if you do not pay me, that is quite all right." The Lord was satisfied with the conch shell dealer's affectionate behavior and blessed him. In this manner, the Lord visited many houses in Navadvip and showered his mercy on everyone. Next, Sri Gaurachandra went to an astrologer's house. The astrologer saw a divine personality before him, glowing with a transcendental radiance. He humbly offered his obeisances and gave the Lord a seat. Nimai said, "I have heard that you are a good astrologer. Please tell me who I was in my previous birth." And the astrologer chanted his Gopal mantra and went into a trance of meditation. Within himself, he saw the four-handed form of Lord Krishna, having a complexion like a dark monsoon cloud. He was holding a conch shell, the Sudarshan chakra, a lotus flower, and a club in his hands. The astrologer then saw Kamsa, I think it's supposed to be Kamsa's prison with Vasudev and Devaki holding the newly born baby Krishna. Thereafter, Vasudev left the prison and took baby Krishna to Gokula. Then the astrologer saw the Lord as a two-handed little boy without any clothes. The jewelry went around his waist, tinkled sweetly with every movement, and his hands were filled with butter. The astrologer had many visions, one after another. He saw Lord Chaitanya having the same bodily features as Gopal, upon whom he meditated daily. Then he saw the form of Shyama Sundar playing his flute and surrounded by the gopis, who were playing various musical instruments. Highly astonished, the astrologer opened his eyes and saw the form of Lord Krishna before him. He prayed, "Gopal, please reveal to me the true identity of the young Brahmin." Next, the astrologer beheld in meditation the Lord having a greenish complexion, holding a bow in his hand and seated upon a throne. Then he saw the Lord as Varaha, balancing the earth between his tusks as he majestically rose from the ocean. Next, the astrologer saw Lord Nrsingadev, the half-man, half-lion incarnation. Following this, the Lord appeared as Vamana in the sacrificial arena of Bali Maharaj, and then as Lord Matsya, the fish incarnation, saving the Vedas from the waters of devastation. Within his meditation, the astrologer next saw Lord Balaram carrying his plow. After that, he saw Lord Balaram and Lord Jagannath, with Subhadra standing between them. Indeed, all of the Lord's incarnations appeared to the astrologer, but by the influence of Yogamaya, he could not understand the deeper significance of his visions. In a confused state of mind, the astrologer thought, Maybe this Brahmana is very expert in chanting mantras to invoke the Lord's incarnations. Or maybe he is a demigod that has taken form to amuse himself or to test me. He is certainly wonderfully effulgent. Perhaps he is an astrologer that has come to disgrace me. Nimai interrupted the astrologer's thoughts by inquiring, "What do you see? Please tell me. Who was I in my previous birth?" The astrologer replied, "Kindly return home and come back in the afternoon. After chanting my mantras properly, I will be able to tell you everything." The Lord wished the astrologer well and then proceeded to the house of his dear friend, Kolavicha Sridhar. Nimai was always very pleased with Sridhar's behavior, and he took advantage of any excuse to visit him.
Okay.
They
Is he the one that would sell the leaf plates?
Wages.
saw the what?
Leaf plates?
Oh,
And
maybe.
one good time used to just steal them and run away.
Gods, he used to say.
Nice. Good
He
memory.
might Pandit pastimes are very sweet
Yeah.
and naughty.
He just went around and got all this stuff for free.
Yeah.
From all the
He's just
people.
like, it's cool. But see, the funny thing is, some of them know he's God, Krishna,
Mhm.
but some of them don't know. They're just being nice
Wow.
because they think he's Brahmin.
Well, they're just like, wow, he's so beautiful and effulgent.
Yeah,
I'll just give him everything.
This is before Mahaprabhu manifest his form, right? So they're still thinking he's a Brahmin.
But sometimes it's in the other version,
Uh-huh.
the main one, it says that sometimes in their heart they realize.
Okay.
But not everybody.
Yeah.
But Mahaprabhu did not want to show his real form, right? He wanted to
Yeah.
hide it.
Well, he is to the astrologer. He's giving him all sorts
Oh,
of
yeah.
visions.
I think
This
This
is
is when
incarnation.
in his childhood, right?
Yeah.
His past time.
Yeah, and he's still Nimai.
so Chaitanya Bhagavat is written before Chaitanya
Yeah.
Charitamrita. Chaitanya Bhagavat has a lot of baby pastimes.
Hmm.
And that's why when Kaviraj Krishnadas Kaviraj wrote, he did not touch on many of these. So they're like completing each other.
Hmm.
So Chaitanya Bhagavat does have a lot of childhood pastimes.
Interesting.
That's what I know. Sridhar would offer his own. In this way, several hours of the day were often passed very happily. As they would converse confidentially and joke with one another, several hours of the day were often passed very happily. Sridhar would offer his obeisances in a seat as soon as the Lord arrived. Sridhar's calm and mild personality was a vivid contrast to the Lord's stormy nature. Nimai Pandit asked, "Sridhar, you always chant the holy name of the Lord. Why are you so poor? What is the reason for your suffering? You deserve the husband and master of the goddess of fortune, Lakshmi Devi. Why then are you always in need of food and clothing?" "I am not starving, and you can see that I am wearing clothes," replied Sridhar. "They are not very good, it must be admitted, but at least my body is covered." Nimai said, "But Sridhar, your clothes are torn in several places, and I know that you have no rice in your house. Look around you. All of the people worship goddess Chandi, Durga, and none of them are in want of food or clothing." "You have made a good point," replied Sridhar, "but truthfully, everyone's life is more or less the same. The king may live in a palace surrounded by great opulence, and he may eat sumptuously. The birds may live in trees and gather the most humble food, but basically everyone's approach to life is similar. By the Lord's design, each of us must fulfill the duties of our respective positions, and while doing so, we all more or less behave alike. Actually, I'm quite satisfied with the life I am living." Nimai said, "I am sure that you have immense wealth hidden somewhere, and you are enjoying very tasty food in secret. Soon I will reveal this to all the people. Let us see for how long you can cheat society." Sridhar replied, "My dear Brahmana, please come in and see my house. We would not unnecessarily argue." Nimai said, "I am not going to let you off so easily. When are you going to feed me today?" "I am a meager, living by selling leaf cups," replied Sridhar. "What can I hope to offer you? Nimai assured, I will not touch your hidden wealth right now. If you simply give me some banana root and banana stalks without taking any money, I will not argue with you any longer. Sridhar thought to himself, this Brahmana is very aggressive. Someday he may even beat me. And if he does, what can I do? Really cannot afford to give him what he demands every day.
Wait, pause. Sorry. What is? Does anyone know what his hidden wealth is?
Prem?
Yeah.
Jai.
Animal. This pastime with this Brahmana is so funny to me. It's in the Chaitanya Charitamrita also.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes Lord Chaitanya would just like
You don't think so?
No,
Oh.
it is.
Is it?
Yeah.
It's the Chaitanya Charitamrita, the pastime is the fruit one, the way Mahaprabhu used to fight all the time.
Fight with Sridhar, yeah.
That's
the same
Sridhar.
person.
We'll have to look it up.
Isn't it the same person?
Make sure.
This is the basic pastime. So this guy,
Only one way to know.
at this time, he doesn't have anything, and in Chaitanya Charitamrita, the pastime is he's a fruit seller, very poor fruit seller, and then Mahaprabhu goes and argue for everything.
Yes.
And he doesn't make, like, in India, she knows. You've been there. So the fruit sellers, they're like very poor. They sell fruits on their very small, greedy, and things like that. So they basically don't have too much margin. So they work. So Sridhar was very genuine from heart and everything. So he didn't have a huge margin, but still Mahaprabhu used to just, I want this sag, but I want to pay only half. So he used to, and hours. It's not like it's hours. Hours he used to fight with him in his shop. And then
will buy only from him.
And only from him, and then the poor seller, he's like, okay, take it. He was always defeated.
Why would he pick on him?
Do you know
Love.
Because he loved.
It's a love.
Prabhu, do you know Ambrisha Prabhu?
He was
Ambrisha Prabhu?
Mhm.
In Vrindavan, he's a Bhakti Maharaj's disciple.
Oh, the guy who does translation of the Gaura, the Sabbath.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
I never met him, but I
he's
heard.
really nice. I asked him this question, and he gave a nice response. I'll play it during Prashad. He sent me a voice recording like many months ago. But it's really funny how he described the pastime.
Alright. Okay. Almost done, and then we'll take Prashad. Nimai assured, I will not touch your hidden wealth right now. If you simply give me some banana root and banana stalks without taking any money, I will not argue with you any longer. Sridhar thought to himself, this Brahman is very aggressive. Someday he may even beat me, and if he does, what can I do? I really cannot afford to give him what he demands every day. Still, he looks like such a wonderful personality. How could he possibly be an ordinary human being? Let him take whatever I have by force or by trick. I think that this must be my very good fortune. Despite my poverty, I will continue to give him whatever he wants. Having come to this conclusion, Sridhar replied, Dear Brahmana, you do not have to pay for anything. I will give you whatever you want with a cheerful heart. Take some bananas and whatever leaf cups I have, but please do not fight with me anymore. Yes, this is quite satisfactory, Nimai responded. But please make sure that I get good quality bananas, banana stalks, and radish. Daily, Nimai ate with Sridhar from his leaf cups, relishing his cooking. When a pumpkin grew on Sridhar's roof, the Lord had it specially cooked with milk and hot spices. One day, isn't that his favorite dish, is pumpkin? Like white pumpkin with spices? I think so. Oh, okay. But it's another one that he really likes.
So
Okay.
In Bengal, they make everything mix, a lot of vegetable mix. So one is sag and another one is banana leaf things to make. They make nice sabjis.
Nice.
I don't know what is it called. Sag.
Sag is basically green vegetable.
No.
It's like
That's sag.
spinach.
That's sag, yeah.
That's sag. It's in Bengal. It's called shak.
Shark way.
So it's like mixed with mango, Lila.
Yeah. Okay.
Mother used to
Sridhar replied, what time do you have to leave, by the way?
make
2. Oh, okay. We have more time. Okay. I mean, if you need to leave earlier too, you can always take Prashad. Okay. One day Nimai asked, Sridhar, what do you think of me? As soon as you answer my question, I shall return home. Sridhar replied, you are Brahmana, part and parcel of Lord Vishnu. No, you do not know, interrupted Nimai. I belong to the community of cowherds. You see me as a young Brahmin boy, but I consider myself to be a herder of cows. Sridhar smiled at the Lord's comment, for he could not recognize his Lord and Master being deluded by the internal potency, Yogamaya. The Lord said, Sridhar, I am going to reveal you to the real truth. See the river Ganga? I am the source of the Ganga. Nimai Pandit, have you no fear of disrespecting Ganga Devi? Exclaimed Sridhar. People usually become more grave and serious as they mature, but your frivolity has appeared to double since your childhood. After returning home, Nimai worshipped Lord Vishnu in the temple room of his house. That evening, the rising of the full moon stirred spiritual emotions within him, as memories of the moonlight Vrindavan Chandra flooded his heart. When Nimai played his flute, its extraordinarily beautiful melody, which only Sachimata could hear, stole her consciousness, carrying it on wings of ecstasy. Slowly, Mother Sachi regained her external consciousness. As she steadied her mind, she listened to the wonderful music. The captivating sound of the flute seemed to come from where Gaura Sundar was seated. It drew Mother Sachi from her room and brought her to the temple room, where she saw Nimai. Just then, the sound of the flute stopped, and on Nimai's chest, Sachimata saw the full rising moon and the fathomless sky. She was wonder-struck and glanced restlessly in all directions before returning to her room. Mother Sachi sat down.
What did she see on his hand?
She saw the full rising moon and the fathomless sky. So, kind of like the universe in Krishna's mouth sort of thing. Mother Sachi sat down and began to analyze all that she had seen and heard, but failed to find a satisfactory explanation. She was certainly supremely fortunate to have witnessed Nimai's endless display of divine pastimes. Some nights, Sachimata heard the sounds of music, singing, and dancing as if a festival were in progress. She sometimes noticed that the entire house, the doors, walls, and windows were emanating a divine light. Some days she saw celestially beautiful ladies wandering about with lotus flowers in their hands. Occasionally she saw demigods appear and vanish within a moment. Wow. Mother Sachi's visions were certainly not imagination. She was the embodiment of devotional service to Lord Krishna. Merely her glance upon any person could purify him, so that he might have the same transcendental visions. In this way, the Supreme Lord Gaura Sundar lived incognito in Navadvip. Although he would sometimes reveal his true identity, none of his eternal servants could recognize him. In his Navadvip pastimes, the Lord liked to be supremely arrogant. Whatever he did could not be surpassed by anyone else. When the Lord wants to perform chivalrous pastimes, there is no one who can equal his use of weapons. When he reveals amorous pastimes, he captivates the hearts of millions of beautiful women. When he wants to enjoy opulence, his magnificent display of wealth is unmatched. Now, in his pastimes as an erudite scholar, there was no one who could equal his arrogance. When the same Lord accepted the renounced order of life, who could excel him in terms of devotion, dedication, and renunciation? And yet, in all the Lord's incarnations, the most wonderful thing is his voluntary loving defeat at the hands of his pure, unalloyed devotees. One day, as Nimai Pandit walked down the street surrounded by his students, his movements, dress, and demeanor were like that of a king. He wore a golden yellow dhoti, just like Krishna. His face displayed soft reddish lips. He wore a tilak on his forehead and held books in his hands. Anyone who beheld Nimai's lotus petal eyes became freed from all sinful thoughts and reactions. The Lord had a restless nature. As he walked with his students, he swung his arms in a carefree manner. Srivas Pandit happened to be walking that way. As soon as he saw the Lord, he felt great happiness. Nimai offered his obeisances to Srivas Pandit as soon as he saw him. With a laugh, Srivas inquired, "Where are you going, my dear epitome of vanity? What futile work are you wasting your time on instead of worshipping the Supreme Lord, Sri Krishna? Why do you pass your days and nights teaching people non-stop? Why don't you allow people to educate themselves so they can understand the Supreme Lord and devotional service? What is the use of an education if engagement in devotional service to the Lord is not the ultimate goal? From now on, do not waste your time with futile activities. You have been educated, and so now you should utilize your time in worshiping Lord Krishna." Nimai replied, "My dear respected Pandit, I am sure that by your grace, devotional service to Krishna is possible even for me." The Lord graciously took leave of Srivas and went to the Ganga. The Lord's beauty was indescribable as he sat in the midst of his students. One might compare him to the moon surrounded by the stars in the sky, but the moon's beauty is flawed with its waxing and waning spots. Therefore, the comparison is inadequate. To compare Nimai with Brihaspati is also inadequate. Whereas Brihaspati is the preceptor of all the demigods, the Lord is the shelter and instructor of all living entities. To compare the Lord with Cupid is also incorrect. Thinking about Cupid invokes material desires that ultimately cause grief, whereas remembrance of the Lord results in purification and freedom from material bondage. It seems that all analogies are inappropriate except the one that is readily accepted by my heart. Sri Nandakumar Krishna used to sit on the banks of Yamuna, surrounded by his cowherd friends. That same Krishna Chandra and the same cowherd boys were now sitting on the banks of the Ganga at Navadvip. Whoever beheld the Lord's charming face at that time experienced inexplicable ecstasy. Indeed, there is no way to estimate the amount of good fortune the people accumulated just by seeing the Lord. One could become free from material bondage simply by seeing the fortunate souls whose hearts had been touched by the blissful experience of the Supreme Lord. The author says, "Unfortunately, I have taken a sinful and wretched birth and was not here at the time of the Lord's manifested pastimes. O Lord Gaurachandra and Lord Nityananda, I pray that wherever you perform your transcendental pastimes with your eternal associates, may I also be present as your humble and insignificant servant. I will accept that person as a scholar who has the courage to come and argue with me," challenged Nimai. In this way, the Lord boasted and thus destroyed the false ego of all the scholars of Navadvip. The Lord had countless followers. People would simply come and offer themselves to him. Every day, young Brahmana boys would come and pray at his lotus feet. "O great scholar, I want to study under you so that I may learn something. Please be gracious and grant me this wish." Nimai would smile and accept them all. In this way, the number of students increased day by day. Navadvip was a great center of learning in those days, full of teachers and scholars well versed in all branches of Shastra. Titles like Bhattacharya, Chakravarti, Mishra, and Acharya were common, and the only work of these men was teaching. Their sport was debate, and in their intolerant and impatient manner, they endeavored by any means to win an argument. Even if a well-respected scholar would make valuable points, others would invariably disagree with him. In the mood of an insolent and arrogant scholar, Nimai's habit was to constantly rebuke the other pundits and refute their arguments right to their faces. There was not a teacher in Navadvip who could confront the Lord's arguments and assert a second opinion. As soon as any scholar would see the Lord, such fear gripped his heart that he would immediately become obsequious. I don't know what that word means. Obsequious. Do you know what that means? Jordan? Obsequious. Can you look it up really quick?
Madhukar does this while he reads the Bhagavatam. I'm going to look up obedient or attentive
To an excessive or servile degree. So like excessively obedient.
Over the top obedient.
Exhibiting servile compliance,
Mm.
promptly obedient or subservient to the will of another, compliant, yielding to the desires of another, devoted.
So as soon as any scholar would see Lord Chaitanya, such fear gripped them, they would immediately become very, very, very subservient. Whoever conversed with the Lord, even by chance, became his dedicated servant. Everyone knew that the Lord's intellect.
Like if they just saw him, they just.
Yeah. Everyone knew the Lord's intellect and erudition, which he displayed from his early childhood. Within their hearts, everyone was convinced that he could never be defeated. The mere sight of Nimai created a feeling of awe and respect, so that all of the scholars became submissive in his presence. All right, should we keep going? You guys want to change the story, or
This is continuing, right?
we'll keep going? I mean, it continues through the whole book, but
Whole book.
okay, let's
Every
just read it
Sunday,
all.
Then we'll be hearing about it.
For another 5-10 minutes.
Because I have to
Okay.
stop her.
Everyone knew the Lord's intellect and erudition, which he displayed from early childhood. Within their hearts, everyone was convinced that he could never be defeated. The mere sight of Nimai created a feeling of awe and respect, so that all of the scholars became submissive in his presence. Once a very learned but puffed up scholar, holding the title Digvijaya, one who has conquered all directions, came to Navadvip. He was a dedicated devotee of the goddess of learning, Saraswati. Mother Saraswati is actually none different from Lakshmi Devi, the goddess of fortune, the eternal consort of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. By the Brahmana's desire and good fortune, he had received the benediction from goddess Saraswati to become a Digvijaya scholar. Having received this benediction, the Brahmana traveled all over India, conquering scholars wherever he went. The entire contents of Shastra were at his command. No one could challenge him and come out victorious. Indeed, many scholars could not even follow his instruction to the main dissertation, and so he went unchecked everywhere. Having heard of Navadvip's reputation as a center of learning, Digvijaya arrived, leading a procession of elephants, horses, and men. News of his arrival spread like wildfire, and the teachers of Navadvip became alarmed, having heard that he was a direct recipient of goddess Saraswati's benediction. Navadvip was considered to be the Lord's premier center of learning. Thus, if the Digvijaya were to defeat its scholars, its glory would certainly be diminished, and the whole world would hear of its failure. And yet, no one had the courage to challenge Digvijaya, for it was understood that Mother Saraswati appeared upon his tongue whenever he spoke. How could a mere human being defeat him? Being in great anxiety, the scholars of Navadvip practically gave up their normal activities. Nimai's students informed him, after conquering all other parts of the world, Digvijaya Pandit has come to Navadvip leading a great procession to challenge our scholars in debate. He says that if there are no challengers, he wants a letter proclaiming his victory. Lord Gaurachandra smilingly replied, "Listen, I will tell you the actual situation. The Supreme Lord does not tolerate anyone who is proud and ignorant. When the Lord finds that someone has become proud and ignorant due to some God-gifted personal quality, he invariably removes the cause of that conceit. A fruit-laden tree and a person endowed with all good qualities bow down with humility. You must have heard of the other great conquerors like Vana, Naraka, and Ravana. Did the Lord neglect to cut down their great burden of pride? Here in Navadvip, you will witness the end of this overbearing scholar." That evening, Nimai went to the Ganga. After sprinkling some Ganga water on his head and offering obeisances, Nimai sat down with his students. He then began to discourse on various topics, and no one could understand that he was simultaneously considering the manner in which he would defeat the Digvijaya Pandit. The Lord thought, "This Brahmana has become exceedingly arrogant and thinks that no one in this world can defeat him. If I am humble in front of everyone, he will be so ashamed that it will be like killing him. People will dishonor him and he will eventually die from humiliation. Better that I confront him in a secluded place. In this way, I can take away his pride without destroying him." Oh, that's so nice. While Nimai was thinking in this way, Digvijaya arrived at the Ganga. As dusk faded into night, the Ganga looked radiant beneath the full moon in the clear sky. Nimai looked brilliant in the midst of his students, and his exquisite beauty was captivating. A sweet smile decorated his moon-like face, and his beautiful eyes sent forth transcendently merciful glances. His hair was black and curly, and his shoulders were broad. His perfectly proportioned body was large, and a Brahmin's thread was draped over his shoulders. Sri Gauranga sat like a yogi, and many students were gathered around him that evening. The Digvijaya was astonished to see that wonderful assembly. He thought, "Is this Nimai Pandit?" Digvijaya stood spellbound for some time, and then inquired from one of his students, "Who is this person?" "This is the famous Nimai Pandit," replied the student. After offering obeisances to the Ganga, the Digvijaya moved a little closer to the Lord. When he noticed him, Nimai smiled and offered Digvijaya a seat. Having conquered all other scholars in the land, Digvijaya was naturally fearless, but in Nimai's presence he was awestruck. It is a fact that whoever approaches the Lord in a challenging mood will feel both awe and fear. After exchanging a few words with the Pandit, Nimai said, "My dear sir, you are a wonderful poet. There is no subject that you cannot perfectly describe. Please compose some verses in glorification of Mother Ganga, so that whoever hears in description will be purified of all sins." Instantly, the Digvijaya Pandit began reciting verses in praise of Ganga. Who can even imagine the artistry of his presentation? Verses swiftly came from his mouth like a continuous roll of thunder. Whoever heard the performance certainly believed that Mother Saraswati had personally appeared on the tip of his tongue. Was it humanly possible to find a mistake in his composition? There seemed to be no one present who could even properly understand the verses.
How many? Did it say?
Not yet.
Many.
5.
Many.
Because he just like didn't even practice. He just was like,
Yeah.
right?
This is little different than what I
Yeah.
It's
heard.
like a summary.
Yeah,
Chaitanya
Chaitanya
Bhagavad is
Chaitanya. Little different. This
because
pastime.
This is just a summary they make for people.
No, but the pastime is little different than
Really?
what is written in Chaitanya
because this
Charitamrita.
is it's to
Yeah, in
story.
Chaitanya Charitamrita it is written that Navdev Pandits, they made a plot and made him discuss with
go to
Nimai. Yeah. So that if Nimai gets defeated, we'll be saved. And if he doesn't, then anyway he will go back.
What was his name?
Keshav Kashmiri.
Yeah, they're
So they just call it
Yeah.
Digvijaya here. But
Digvijaya.
it's-
There's a
Digvijaya
title.
is one who
Oh,
has
oh, oh.
won everyone. So,
and that,
Dig Vijay. Dig means the bird,
uh-huh.
and Vijay is born. So Dig Vijay is the title.
Jai.
Keshav.
All right, so let's see. It said verses came swiftly from his mouth like a continuous roll of thunder. Whoever heard the performance certainly believed that Mother Saraswati had personally appeared on the tip of his tongue. Was it humanly possible to find a mistake in his composition? There seemed to be no one present who could even properly understand the verses. Nimai's hundreds of students simply stared at the Pandit with wide open mouths. "Oh Lord Ram," they exclaimed, is it possible for any human being to compose such eloquent poetry?" For nearly an hour, the Digvijaya composed his verses. There seemed to be no end to his brilliant oration. At last, when he finished, Nimai smiled sweetly and said, "Your poetry is so exceptional that no one can understand it unless you explain it. Your verses have certainly glorified Mother Ganga very nicely. Now please analyze them." The Lord's sweet speech acted like an intoxicating beverage upon Digvijaya. But as soon as he began his explanation, Nimai interrupted to point out some mistakes. He said, according to the rules of grammar, your use of figures of speech is flawed in many places. Please explain this. The Digvijaya Pandit had somehow lost his intelligence, so he could not offer a proper explanation for the faults that Nimai Pandit had pointed out. Indeed, his feeble and confused attempts to defend his composition elicited further criticism from the Lord. Digvijaya's unprecedented talent seemed to have vanished, and the whole situation became incomprehensible for him. In fact, he did not even seem to understand his own identity. Nimai said, leave aside this poem for now and compose another one. And yet, the great world-conquering Pandit was unable to compose even a single verse. He simply sat before the Lord in a state of complete bewilderment. Even the greatest personalities, Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva, have become bewildered in the Lord's presence. And so what is surprising if the Digvijaya Pandit lost his own composure? I confidently say all of the Lord's pastimes are for the ultimate benefit of the suffering living entities and are meant to release them from material bondage. While the Digvijaya Pandit was struggling to accept his ignominious defeat, the students began to giggle excitedly. Nimai restrained them, however, and said in a soothing voice, let us stop here today. Please return home tomorrow and we can continue our discussion. Yeah, it doesn't say specifically. I
He
know.
asked you should find 5 faults and 5 good points about your composition. And he said there can't be any mistake in my composition. And he composed 100 verses on Mata Ganga. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took 50th shloka. So he was surprised. When I spoke 100 verses one after other, how could he pick up only the middle one exactly? When did he remember so many verses?
Yeah.
And then Mahaprabhu asked him, you find 5 faults and 5 good points about this. And he couldn't. And then Mahaprabhu told him what are the good points and what are the mistakes in that 50th verse. Then he was astonished, and then in the night he went to banks of Ganga and worshipped Saraswati. And Mata Saraswati appeared before him, and she said, you can't defeat him. He is my Prabhu. He is my Lord. You are so fortunate that you are getting his darshan. So rather than contesting with him, you better go and take his shelter of his food. And next day morning he goes to Mahaprabhu and excuse him, please forgive me. I came in to fight against you, but no, I was wrong. So now accept me as your disciple. And then he became Mahaprabhu's disciple.
So do you know what the 5 mistakes were?
I don't remember. They are listed in from grammar perspective. There were 5 mistakes and 5 good points.
I remember one. He said it made it look like Ganga had 2 husbands. Something like that, like the way he put it. And so
True plural.
Yeah. And so that's what Mahaprabhu said. So how can Ganga, if she's chaste,
Haribo.
how can she have 2 husbands? Haribo. It's a men's meeting.
Except for me.
Men also, Brahmachari.
Lead it by a woman.
Brahmachari. No, Draupadi.
Yeah.
Draupadi ki jai.
Oh, that's funny.
Ganga Mata.
Jai ho. Okay, so yeah, that would be interesting to look up later, like what all the mistakes are.
So we can have discussion.
Okay, great,
A pundit discussion.
perfect.
I'm just gonna get the prashad ready, but is we finish or?
We're just finishing up. It's like the last couple of paragraphs.
And we can do kirtan?
Yeah, we can. Should we do arti?
Okay.
Okay, great.
Sundari will do.
You know, you can. I can do it. Okay. The Lord's behavior was so gentle and compassionate that when he defeated the scholar, that person would not feel humiliation. Nimai said to Digvijaya, please go home now and study your books. Okay. Tomorrow I will ask you some questions and you must try to answer them. Nehemiah was so merciful that in spite of his victory, okay, I think it's actually going to keep going and going.
No, it's a big, long passage.
Yeah, okay, so I think that's actually a good place to stop.
Yeah.
He defeated him, basically, in a really sweet, gentle, compassionate way.
Haribol.
Jai Ho.
Very sweet passage.
All right. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai.
You should sing Yashomati Nandan. This is the time in what
Yashimati Nandan.
they do this arti.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, so
So is the arti plate here we need to bring?
It's in the kitchen.
You do arti?
I can.
Your glasses look good. Are they new?
They are normal glasses. No.
Oh, you're like Panditji.
Of course.
Following like you. They're same like yours, right?
No problem. So, puja plate?
Yes.
Okay. There's no cutting. Oh,
Yeah.
can you give these to Govardhan? I forgot to give.
So,
You want me to offer?
yeah.
Lindsay, I'm taking your phone.
No, actually. Janardhan, better you offer it, I'll do arti.
You want to do the opposite. I'm gonna get the art.
I gotta take your picture. Step back. Right there.
Good to see you after a long time.
Thank you.
Very good.
Namo Namo Namaste Krishna Namo Namo. That's all the words. I made a curry Christmas bread.
What? Man, you're really coming into your element.
And mango and coconut cream. Remember, you need wife. She's not eating. That's like I just eat papaya. Yes. She likes to get. I'm just doing quick work. We have to eat. Keep the program going. You can fill up water.
संजय प्रभु ने प्रभुपाद जी की तो कुछ बुक्स निकाली है वो उसके पीछे कुछ रखा हुआ था नीचे गिरा है कृष्ण प्रिया I think something fell there
Oh no.
Oh, this water fell down.
I think किसी बोतल पे कुछ था तो
Can you pick up that bottle? That also might fail.
No, one bottle is not there.
Don't kill the.
Be careful, there are glasses under.
That's good.
I think so.
Okay, so are you all ready? Anand Prabhu?
Yeah. No, he was to offer, right? Janardhan Prabhu was offering.